I've been looking for an apartment, but I have horrible credit. Cosigning.com helps you get a cosigner that helps you out to get your dream apartment. Don't let your horrible credit get you down. Cosigning.com has changed the game. I got a cosigner quick and easy. I couldn't have asked for a better service.
Just like a lot of other people who are fans or who tune in to Team Pool every day, I'm very disappointed. Not necessarily because I expected more from him, but because, you know, you want people to kind of live their words. Tim Pool is a avid 2A supporter. He's a constitutionalist. Yes, he does believe in self-defense, but also he understands how law works. For him to pretend that it was justified for this kid to stab another kid in the chest, who, even if they were in a fist fight, two kids at a school, for one of them to stab the other one in the chest, and to use the analogy, well, if someone comes into your home, it's like that they're not even nowhere near each other. The reason it's hypocritical, and the reason and another big point where I think Tim is wrong, is because Tim recently had an altercation, and the person he had an altercation with survived. How? If you really believe that what Metcalf did was what was done to Metcalf was justified, then why didn't you do that to the guy that accosted you and your wife at the Cracker Barrel? Before we get into that, let's go ahead and hear what Tim has to say.
Cut and dry. No. Imagine you are invited to a party at someone else's house, and you are legally carrying a firearm, and then a fight breaks out, and an altercation breaks out between you.
Now, how are you going to compare your personal house to a school organized venue? Even if it wasn't directly on the school campus, it was a school organized event. Everyone knows there's no weapons allowed. The students should not have weapons. The argument that Tim and the Black community is making is that if anybody touches you, you should be able to murder them. You should be able to kill them. The Black community is basically also saying that even if you bring knives and guns to school, to protect yourself from other kids, that's okay too. That's the number one point that conservatives are making, is that you shouldn't even have a weapon in the first place. And what the Black community is saying is that you should be able to carry weapons, and you should be able to use them if another kid touches you. Not they're beating you to death, not you're fighting for your life. But then again, there is a psychosis amongst this demographic of people where they do in their heart, and I've had this argument with Black people for years. In their heart, they feel that all white people, especially white men, are tormenting them 24 hours a day, even when they're asleep. In their mind, all interactions with any kind of white person for any reason, even if it's law enforcement, even if it's another kid from an opposing school, any white contact at all is basically you fighting for your life and defending yourself and defending your life at all times. When I watch these people argue with Black people on TikTok and argue with them on Facebook and Instagram, I often wonder, have you ever even met a Black person? Have you ever had more than a surface conversation? None of this is news. Everyone who knows Black people know. I have one of my best friends. I love him to death. Known him for years. We've been doing business together for years. He's in my DMs right now, explaining to me how basically the Most High has a plan where he's going to wipe away all the white people to take back the stolen land. This isn't a grown adult man with children. He would hate if somebody brought a weapon to school and harmed one of his daughters. But he's a double-minded man, because one side, of course, he knows that's wrong for a student to bring a weapon to school and harm a kid. But on the other side of his mind, he hates all white people. Every single one. He wants them and their children to all die and burn. I've shared video after video. Karmelo after Karmelo. This is not an isolated incident. It's just that, unfortunately, Black culture and American culture, they cannot coexist. Typically, black people stay away from white people. They hate them. When they announced that, when there was this BS about Trump starting segregation again, a lot of black people were like, yeah, let's do it. We don't want to be integrated. They hate them. They want to stay away from them, which everyone's fine with that. That society as a whole, it would be good with that. It's safer for your children that way. Forced integration doesn't work. But when you're forcing and you're allowing your children to go around into spaces where they're at, you're going to risk this. Now, I grew up around black people most of my whole life. Why would a kid have a weapon and be in somebody else's tent? I remember kids like that. They would bring a weapon in case they get caught trying to steal from other kids. In my opinion, what it sounds like is that he was over there going through those kids' bags, got caught, decided to sit down and play on his phone, trying to play it off. Two boys came over there because it was probably girls that first caught him. They're scared. They don't say nothing. Some random black dude is under our team in our school tent. What is he doing over here and why? Has no business over here. Oh, well, he's black. He should be able to go wherever he wants. So you're telling me you can go to an NBA basketball game, and if you want to go sit on the floor with the players, you can do it? Matter of fact, when LeBron's doing a layup, you can just walk out on the court as a black kid and say, pass me the ball. Because you can go anywhere you want, right? You can do whatever you want. Or better yet, you can just walk into a police station, walk behind the counter, walk into the office of a detective, put your feet on the desk and say, this is mine, right? That's what we're justifying, right? That's what we're saying. Because you're black, you can just do whatever you want to and go wherever you want to. That's what we're justifying now. So you can be under this tent. It's raining, so you can go anywhere you want. Why was he over there with those kids' bags and their stuff? Two boys come over there and say, hey, dude, you got to get out of here. This isn't your area. Why are you over here? He knows he's caught. Like, again, when people are trying to steal from you or rob you, they're going to bring a weapon. People bring weapons when they steal cars. People bring weapons when they break into homes in case somebody shows up and they get caught. That way, that person can't stop them and they can get away. See, this wasn't a kid talking about defending himself because he didn't stab or try to defend himself against white police officers when they pulled up. And when they put their hands on him to arrest him, he didn't fight them off. Where was that same energy? If this was about him being touched, well, then white officers, when he arrested, put hands all over him. They frisked him, touched him, chest, feet, ankles. Where was that same energy? Because it wasn't about that. In my opinion, he was over there likely going through those kids' bags, stealing from those white kids. Because remember, in the mind of an American black person, every white person is a rich billionaire. Every single one. There's no such thing as a poor white person or middle class. Every single white person is a billionaire, and you're an oppressed victim at all times. They're taught that by their parents. That is a part of the curriculum growing up. They won't teach you how to read. So your kid will be in 9th grade reading at a 2nd grade level. You won't teach your kid that, but you will teach your kid that police are going to kill them. You're a victim. You're oppressed, racism and slavery, even though no one's ever seen it, ever been through it. No one even knows if it actually even happened that way. It's just that they tell you these stories. Only black people tell you these stories. Nobody else confirms it and says, yeah, that's what happened. Well, how would they know? None of them were alive. I'm arguing with a man today who's explaining to me how he was a slave. And that just shows you the mental confusion and the mental illness that Americans are battling with. So when Tim comes out and he basically confirms the mental illness, you got to understand, Tim just went through something very traumatic and very embarrassing for him individually. And that's why he said something so ridiculous. So again, I'll let him finish.
When some guy, there's drinking involved or whatever. I'm not trying to make a one-for-one scenario. I'm trying to create a potential scenario separate from this one with similarities. You go to a party. Let's say you go to a party. And some guy starts saying stuff like, yo, man, get out of here. You're like, I can do what I want. I was invited to the party. Verbal altercation escalates. And then the dude, you're sitting there and you pull your sweater back and you've got a gun. You put your hand up and say, don't come close to me, bro. I'm warning you right now. Do not come close. Do not take another step.
Listen to what Tim is basically comparing this to. He's comparing this to somebody in a private residence getting close to you and you have a gun. So if Karmelo had a gun and the two twin brothers walked up to him, he's now making the case that Karmelo also had to right to shoot them because he didn't know the level of violence these two boys were going to bring him. All of these here, 17-year-old kids. When I was growing up, you were a punk if you needed a weapon in a fight. You were scared. These kids were not beating him. These kids were not on top of him, smothering him. They were not jumping him. One boy, he said, touch me and see what happens. I remember growing up. I remember being this age. I'm going to cross the line in the sand, walk across it. So you're saying because this kid dared to go against you because you're the almighty black supremacist, he deserved to die. Tim is not being consistent. He was again accosted at a Cracker Barrel with his wife. Tim, why didn't you draw down on this man? Or why didn't you at least punch him? Why didn't you push him? Why didn't you spit on him? Why didn't you you didn't probably put up much of a fight at all? Tim is embarrassed. He's ashamed, and he probably wishes he would have done more to defend himself and his family. At that time, Tim was probably at this restaurant and he was unarmed. He don't know if the other guy is armed. That scenario is playing out in Tim's head, and that's why Tim is making such a ridiculous comparison and defending this, because he just recently went through something extremely traumatic. Now, Tim is, I'm a fan. I actually am a part of the Timcast members only. I paid a membership every single month. I've had for years. I'm a member. I respect them a lot. But I understand people that are like Tim. Tim is living with regret. And he works so much, he doesn't have time to sit back and reflect. How could he? The man works 24/7. Let me let you finish.
Then the guy grabs your arm and makes a move, so you draw your weapon and you use it. Okay, make the argument you have no right to defend yourself when you're being attacked by a guy. Go ahead and do so. I ain't gonna do it. I don't know the circumstances. You can argue that you're in a place you're not supposed to be. You can argue it's that guy's house, and it doesn't matter. A guy can invite you into your neighbor could be like, come on over, brother. And then if he gets physical with you, you can defend yourself. And then what? The police are like, well, you were in his house. And it's like, yeah, you invited me in. It's like, the door was open. And
ridiculous. Utterly despicable and fucking ridiculous. There's no way that's even remotely a logical comparison whatsoever, Tim. It doesn't make sense. And that's why you got to think about it. People like myself and the other people in Timcast, was it 40,000 members? We pay because most of the time we agree with Tim. We like long form conversations. We like think tanks. I'm a part of a think tank. So I like to hear other people that sit around and have conversations. They pull things apart. I respect the show. I respect it. I really do enjoy it. The reason this is a problem for us is because this completely contradicts everything else that we talk about. And I wish that he would have been corrected live on air by somebody that would have just pointed out the hypocrisy. Tim, you literally just got accosted and you didn't defend yourself against somebody, because you know that defending yourself when there wasn't really a threat of violence would have been putting you in a bad place. The same thing is with Karmelo. His life wasn't being threatened. It wasn't at all. So because of that, the level of violence he went through was unjust and it wasn't right. Karmelo is going to be, just because now the reason that he's gaining money, because see, that's not the only Karmelo. There's Karmelos everywhere. There's Karmelos. There's black kids. There's another, was a black NFL player was just arrested. What did he do to his girlfriend? Deleted his girlfriend. Right here. Football player, I can't even pronounce that shit. Captured on camera, almost unaliving his girlfriend. Because she broke up with him. Another Karmelo. The reason he doesn't have a GoFundMe is because that's not the target. See, the community wants you to target white people, specifically white children and white women. They're deathly afraid of males. The only white people they can stand are gay ones. Ask them, speak to them, talk to them like people. Don't just assume what they're going to say and think that they're victims. Ask them. They will tell you the truth. They'll be honest with you. They'll tell you we hate them all. I've been around the community. I know what they say. I know what they think, and I know what they do. I see their actions. And that's the thing about the Black community. They never say, don't when they're having their gang wars and they're all self-deleting. They never say murder is bad, killing is bad. Don't kill people. Don't do murder. Don't commit crime. They never say that. What they say is you're going after each other instead of targeting the real enemy. I see that every day. And I ask them, well, who's the real enemy? A lot of times they don't respond, but every now and again they do respond, and they tell you white people. What they're saying is that they don't want you to stop being violent and stop hurting people. What they're saying is that they only want you to hurt certain people. They want you to target women and children that are white. Because in their minds, there is a war going on against white people. So that's why you wonder, you're like, wow, why are the Black community and the gay community, even though the gay community just included what is called minor attracted persons who are attracted to, they just included them in their acronym, but they merged with the Black. Don't they make weird bedfellows? I thought the Black community was against gays and against, PDF files. And no, it turns out in their war, they're looking for as many allies as possible. That's why they try to bring in us brown people. Oh yeah, Black and brown. Brown people don't deal with the Black community like that. We don't. What? Your problems are not our problems. Right now, we're dealing with legal immigration versus illegal immigration. We support removing illegals because our families had to work to come here to get citizenship. It's not fair for you to just walk across the border and get benefits it took some of us 15 to 20 years to get citizenship. We're against it. But the Black community pretends that illegals and legals are all the same. They just want you to join them in their imaginary war against white people. And they reject you when we say, well, we're not joining that war. They try to bring Asians in. They try to bring the pro-Palestine, but they make weird bedfellows. The problem is this is a war they're going to lose. Right now, the only support they fully have is from the gay community. The gay community also hates vehemently the white community, especially white men, straight white men. That's why every slander you see, you're going to see a white man who's gay tell you that the most dangerous people, the most evil people in this country are white men. But he's a white man. But you got to understand, he's gay. He's not a regular white man. He's a part of a completely different group that he doesn't feel has any connection towards the white community. The only issue here is that white people are oblivious to the fact that war has been declared on them and their children, and they still allow their children, their women, to go into these spaces where this kind of incident is likely to happen. If you were smart, and if you cared about the survival of your family, you would keep doing what you have been doing, which is move away from the inner cities. Do not let your children interact with these people unless you want your children to get harmed or to be turned gay or to have some other type of issues or turn against you. Keep them separated from that community. Remember, they're not Americans. They're Black. The Black community and the American Black culture and American culture are not the same. They've never been the same. They will never get along. They will never merge. There will never be a coexistence. Two completely different cultures. When you look at the Islam people that are going into the UK right now, Islam and Western British culture do not mix. They don't. Black culture and American culture also do not mix. Forcing it to is going to cost the lives of people that don't deserve it. Austin Metcalf had a future ahead of him. He no longer has one. However, the kid that did this to him, if you look at the statistics, odds are he was going to be in prison anyway. The gay community, the whole prison, it's a huge thing. This boy is going to be somebody's girlfriend for the foreseeable future. It wasn't like he had huge prospects. A lot of that stuff is a lie. A lot of that stuff's just people just, providing lip service and defending stuff and calling you all types of names if you disagree, if you say that's not true. It's not true. You can look at there again, there's a pattern. According to them, every race of people has other men from their cultures going around doing the same thing as them every day. That's a lie. That's a lie. There's a huge problem in this country with an unaccountable community that cannot be put in check or stopped. Now, according to my research, an effort to stop it has been put in place and it's working. I talked about it yesterday with Blanche. I told him that the vaccine was basically the world's way of self-defense against the Black community, because from my research, it affects the Black community different than it affects everyone else. According to my own research, this country is now down millions of Black people since 2020. No one's keeping score besides me, but I do keep score. And I look at the numbers. I look at the election. The election said, well, for some reason, magically, there's about 10 million less Democrats than there were 4 years ago. But yet the sentiment and the anger and the hatred for white people is the same or higher. So they didn't become conservatives. 10 million Black people didn't become Trump supporters all of a sudden. Where'd they go? I know what you did last summer. Do you remember what I told you when you were pulling into that drive-thru? Remember when Kamala Harris told you that you're a white-wing Trump supporter? If you don't comply, if you ask questions. Again, that's not, I believe actually all vaccines are safe and effective. I just believe they have different outcomes. But I think you should take the vaccine. I believe they should, even the boosters are safe and effective. I take 3 or 4 every day anyway. So YouTube gods, there's no need to nuke this broadcast. I'm actually pro-vaccine, especially for the most violent among us. See, if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. It's beautiful. Imagine if you could make a weapon that targeted the one thing inside of the human body that makes you angry and aggressive. As far as I can tell, that's called testosterone. What if you could find something that was amplified by testosterone, but estrogen neutralized it? So it didn't really work in women or men who were effeminate or gay. They're high in estrogen, low in testosterone. They even take estrogen pills. So it wouldn't affect them, but the strong, angry, the most aggressive men, the bodybuilders, the athletes. You could make something that just targeted their testosterone. But the only thing is you have to find a really clever way to get them to inject it. Maybe I should write a movie. I think this is going to be the plot of a movie I'm going to write. And I'm just going to describe this. What I'm describing is sci-fi. Remember, all vaccines are safe and effective. Again, I take 6 or 7 every morning. I do boosters at night. They're beautiful. I'm just speaking hypothetically. So in the movie that I'm writing, the self-defense of the world is a magical injection that basically gets rid of all the high testosterone, violent people. And it only works in them. I said that because there's a clear threat to society as a whole. And I keep asking people, how long do you think society is going to allow this? I'll be honest with you. 3 years ago, I saw Bill Gates as a monster. I saw Fauci as a monster. I saw Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as monsters for saying something so egregious and illegal and unconstitutional that if you have more than this many employees, you got to do this, or you got to fire people for not donating their body to science. You got to fire them. But yet when Trump tells people that you're going to get fired for poor performance, that's an issue. But yet they were firing government employees, firefighters. I'm talking about the same firefighters and first line people that were working in 2020 when everybody was scared of everything. The people that were still working and dealing with the public, they were heroes, and you're banging pots right outside your window. And then 8 months later, you're fired because you won't let me do something to you that's irreversible. Pure insanity. There's no consistency with you. That's how you, again, it's double-minded. And you can't have things both ways. Again, Tim Pool was wrong. In one out of those two people, Metcalf and Karmelo, one group, the whole purpose of their life is to literally go after that other guy's group. The other guy has no clue that that's what the other group's goal is for him. No clue. He just knew that there was some strange guy underneath our tent where all of our stuff is, and there's other people that are afraid to say something to him. We're going to tell this guy to get the hell up out of here. I've been in that situation before. And it was 9 out of 10 times the dude was over there stealing. I remember it happened I was at 24 Hour Fitness one time. And we everybody was playing ball. A lot of our bags were in one corner. There was a dude who was, it was like a few guys. They were acting like they were waiting to play on the next game. But we noticed they kept getting closer and closer to where all our bags were. Then they put their bags down. But it seemed like they were going through their own bags, but really they had their bags around ours because they were going through our bags. Somebody saw them and caught them. We went over there. Dude reaches in his bag, pretends he has a gun because they got caught stealing. I've seen it happen so many times that and right now, no one's going to say that because everyone's afraid of what people are going to say about you if you suggest it. But let's be honest. They think all white kids are billionaires. So it's okay to steal from them because they got it. They can replace it, right? That's what they tell themselves. What they tell each other. That's the common narrative. They didn't care if it has to be replaced. They didn't care if it was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. They caught him. He pulled out a weapon and he took off. But he didn't have that same energy when white police officers arrested him because he wasn't getting caught stealing at that time. He knows what he did. He knows that because he's underage, he'll likely get out of jail by the age of 18. Luckily, in this situation, that's not the case. He's going to do life. But he'll probably be eligible for parole, 20 years, maybe 15. But the time he's going to spend in there, he will be a love toy. That's actually a really big thing that's in prison. And, if this kid wasn't LGTB, now he is. That fast. So is this a loss for that community? No, because the LGTB gained one and he's still black. So they lost, but the white community lost a male and they're becoming few and far in between. There's a war on men, especially white men. Why do you think they have Russians and Ukrainians fighting against each other while brown people from Northern Africa and the Middle East are invading Europe? They're getting rid of white men. Why do you think there's 300,000 under this black kid's GoFundMe, but yet the black dude that just tried to unalive his girlfriend doesn't have one? Or the black kid that just shot those other 3 black kids that killed, it was 4 black kids. Let me see here. Let's see here. We're going to come to Blanche's video in a second. Let me see here. I don't know if it's saved or not because all my posts get flagged now, which is crazy. Let's see. Yeah, see, my post to be here 1 second, and then they'll be gone the next. Let's see, right here.
My fellow black folks, how y'all feel about this situation right here?
So 4 gang members arrested for harming and killing a 7-year-old kid. Now, all 4 of them could claim self-defense. If that kid was white, they would have claimed self-defense due to racism, slavery, and oppression. They would have claimed it. And somebody would have set up a GoFundMe and black people would have poured money in. But right now, there's no interest in this because the other person involved is not white. See, the only time Black Lives Matter as if there's somebody in the equation that's white. That's it. That's all. That's that. There's no cause for justice. There's no call for anything. Because again, the goal is to harm as many white women and children as possible. That's who they go after. They're scared of white men. Again, they have nightmares about them. You know, like I said, I was talking to a black dude a year ago, not even more than a year, a little bit less than a year ago. And I'm darker than him. And he tells me to my face that my people have more rights over here than his people. But I'm darker than him. And apparently oppression and racism jumps over me and just goes directly towards him. And again, the white family, the white nuclear family, a man with a wife and children, those are things that are threatening and insulting, and they anger people with that mentality. So they want to hurt them. They want to take from them. They want to steal from them. And you trying to plead with these people and explain these, like, again, I had to tell my friend today, nothing in America was stolen. It was conquered. It was won. There is no participation trophies. We're humans, we're people. If you lose a fight, that person didn't steal the fight. You lost, and to the winner goes the spoils. That's how this goes. And he's like, no, everything was stolen. I'm like, stolen by who? If that was the case, why don't you take it back? Because you can't take it back, because you can't conquer. You don't have the strength or the power. And if you did have the strength and the power, what would you do with it if you got it? Have we seen the places, how they turn out once these people are in charge? How does Detroit look right now? How does Los Angeles look? DC, Minneapolis, what's her name? Where the Somalian, the Somalian that hates America, Ilhan Omar. How's her district look? Or that crazy black lady that looks like James Brown. How does that area look? America wants to, be the bigger person and try to, you can't. That's why common sense has to be restored. Law and order has to be restored, or there's just going to be more of this. But again, because of 2021, there's gradually going to be less and less of this. Right now, this is just the last strokes of something that's, lashing out because it's being neutralized. This threat has to go somewhere, but it can't continue like this. It's just too dangerous. It's too dangerous. Again, 4 gang members, a kid. And there's no GoFundMe for these guys, but there's one for Mr. Karmelo that raised $300,000 because what did he do? He took out who? A straight white male. And they reward you for that hand over fist. Nothing I'm saying is wrong, incorrect. I'm not exaggerating. And this kid was a little thief. He was a small kid. People, try to defend him, but nobody defended Eric Holder. The same thing happened to Nipsey. Some little small dude that was scared to fight brought a weapon, used the weapon. Where's the GoFundMe for Eric Holder? There is none, because Nipsey wasn't white. There's a war that white people don't even know that they're in right now. So you're fighting the World Economic Forum. You're in a proxy war in Israel. You're fighting another war in the Ukraine. But there's literally a war in America where someone's coming up behind you and you don't even have you're oblivious. You don't even see the threat that's coming for you. You have no idea it's coming. And people like myself, people like Blanche, we're warning people. They don't want to listen. They don't want to believe it because, what do? They have laws about civil rights to prevent you from being racist or oppressive or from profiling people. Those laws got to be done away with. There's a threat that's coming for them. And those laws don't even need to be in effect if the threat is not real. So people want those laws in place so that they can get away with what they're doing. They want the public to turn a blind eye. Those kids had every right to kick that kid out of that area. He shouldn't have been there in the first place. Again, So you're saying a black kid can just walk on to anywhere he wants, sit down, even if he gets on an airplane, he can just sit in the first class seat that he didn't pay for. And if the stewardess comes over there to move him, he has a right to harm her and attack her too, right? Because he can just sit wherever he wants. He can just, there's no such thing as people being designated for certain areas. You should be able to do whatever you want, go wherever you want. Who are you to tell me I can't come over here? That's your argument. That's your best argument for why it's okay to harm kids and to unalive them just because they're being white and just coming up to you. And again, they all feel like they're fighting for their lives against white people every day anyway. That's the common narrative. But again, let's go back to what Blanche was saying, shall we? Let's see here.
Crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where.
Now, again, this is somebody's father who speaks like he has about a first or second grade education. But the truth is, black people do lie. So let's hear him out.
They, wouldn't get all extra wet.
So he said it was raining. So track meet canceled. It's raining. Folks are going to their cars. Folks are going to, he said, to get anywhere where they can be dry. Pay attention. He said that it's raining hard and everybody's scattering, trying to either go to their cars or somewhere they can get dry.
Dude was sitting up under the tent, right? On his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up. McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a.
There is no excuse for you to live in the United States of America with free education for you to sound like this when you speak in an interview. There is no fucking excuse. Unless you're autistic or you have some kind of mental disorder, there's no reason when you only speak one language. I speak 5. These people speak 1. How have you not mastered 1? How can you even work a customer service job? So obviously these are people that don't work or don't work with people. Not sure what this man can do, but you can't even understand what he's saying. I'm having a hard time, so I'm sure you guys are too.
Whole separate tent and walked over them.
So he just said that people were trying to get out of the rain. So why wouldn't the Metcalf twins be going to their tent, their high school team's tent, to get out of the rain?
And if they're going to their high school team's tent to get out of the rain, that's where all their stuff is too. Their backpacks, their bags, their equipment, their phones, their cameras. A little thug kid with a knife in his backpack, he's obviously there looking to steal from somebody. He's not there just for fun. I don't think he woke up that morning like, yeah, I'm about to go to school and give it to somebody. No. He always told himself in the back of his head, if somebody stops him from shoplifting, what he's going to do. If somebody tries to stop him from stealing from somebody, what's he going to do? He's not getting caught. He's getting out of there. That's why people bring weapons when they commit crimes. They don't just run when they get caught and go, oh, and they take off. No. They bring a weapon. They bring a weapon in case they get caught. He got caught. Probably people came over there and sat down before he could steal anything, but he was over there for that reason. And then everybody's looking around like, who knows him? The twins didn't know him. They had no idea who this kid was. They're wondering like, well, who is this guy? Why is he here? Hey, you got to get the hell up out of here. The dude reaches in his bag and says, I dare you to touch me. I dare you to swing. Why are you daring me? Why don't you just get the fuck out of here? Why don't you just leave? If you're afraid for your life, you would run. Kyle Rittenhouse, they keep bringing him up. Kyle Rittenhouse ran from adult men who were literally trying to kill him. They even admitted in trial, we were trying to kill him. And 2 of those men were pedophiles. So you guys are comparing yourself to a man who literally did the world a favor. Not only were these people trying to harm him, they were also pedos. But the black community is literally using them as a justification and a comparison. Like it's what an odd thing to say. What a strange, odd comparison that you would like to make. But again, when you're looking for allies, you'll look for them in all the wrong places because you're building an alliance because there's a war that I've been telling people about. This phenomenon that you're watching is called the Black Army that I coined years ago. But I spell black, BLAQ, and then ARMY. It's Black Army. This was a Black Army attack. This wasn't just a red. This was, and the reason you know it's Black Army is because the media and the public, the black public, are supporting it. 300 grand, but yet they wouldn't have put 300 grand to pay for him to do something else. They pay for him to go to college or pay for him to get a car so he can go to work. They wouldn't put that money up for that. But no. When you're doing their dirty work for them, if there's a black army and the enemy are white men and there's a war, and you want to basically pay a bounty, what are they teaching other people? If you harm a straight white male, there's going to be money in it for you. Well, not for you. You're going to be having man sex, but there's money for your mom. You know, that lady that was bad with money, and that's why your family's poor. You know, but they're going to just give her a boatload of cash, and that money won't make it to your books or anything. So your family's going to get some money. You're going to go to prison, but you're not thinking about that. They're just going to get, but there was basically them rewarding you for harming this boy means that they basically had a bounty on this boy, and whatever that GoFundMe amount is basically what the bounty for harming a white male is. If you do the math, that's what the bounty is.
He just said that people were trying to get out of the ring. So how is he saying that their intent is different? So let me get this straight. You're saying that everybody else was trying to get out of the ring, including Karmelo Anthony. But out of everybody at the track meet, these two twins were trying to get him. They didn't care about the ring. So they were going to the tent to get him, not to get out of the ring.
It sounds like they were going to the tent to get out of the rain and discovered some random black kid who doesn't go to their school sitting over there with all their bags, their jackets, their backpacks, their luggage, their equipment. They're like, well, what are you doing over? Why are you over here? Go where your people are. Go where your school is. You're not supposed to be over here. Oh, well, he can be wherever he wants to. That's not true. You can't go sit in first class. You can't go run out on a basketball court NBA game. You can't just go sit in the principal's office and say, I'm the principal now. You can't just do that. And that's the thing. If you guys don't understand and respect society and structure, then you're in the wrong country. There are rules. This is a society. If you don't want to respect this country's rules and you don't like them, you don't agree with them, living in America is a choice that you make every single day. You can choose to go live somewhere else. Somewhere else that might be antithetical to your cause or to your feelings or to how you want to choose to live. You don't have to live in America. This is not the only player. It's not the only game in town.
You know that, sir.
Funny thing is, this kid could have moved to Ghana. He could have told his mom he wants to go study in Nigeria and be around his own people. But he would rather go to prison in America than to leave and be happy somewhere else. That's the thing. These people complain about how they hate white people, hate America, but they'd rather die or go to prison. They'd rather die or go to prison instead of leaving. So you hate this country so much that you'd rather die than leave. Why not just leave? If you feel this country's racist and the system's oppressive and they're going to put you in prison, you're not going to get a fair trial. Why are you here? Well, I don't want to leave. I don't have nothing. That's what immigrants do. Immigrants come here with nothing. You can go somewhere else with nothing and build and stay alive. And Trump's only the president of the United States, not president of these countries in Africa or somewhere else. He's only the president over here. You can have a choice. Living here is a choice that we all make every day. No one's forcing you. Now, Karmelo doesn't have to be somebody's sex toy. He doesn't got to be a pincushion. His family could have moved him to Ghana. And over there, he could probably walk around with knives and guns and stab and shoot. And he can do whatever he wants, right? That's what that's America stops you and oppresses you from doing crimes. And they even put you in jail for crime. But other parts of the world, they don't, right? That's why America's so bad and the rest of the world is great, because America will prosecute you and other countries won't. So why aren't you there? So you'd rather him go sit in prison all these years rather than leave. And that was my problem with these rappers too. Look at Tory Lanez. He's not even American. The only punishment he could have had is just he doesn't come back to the United States. All of these black celebrities that are in prison, they could have just left the country and never came back. Russell Simmons did it. Russell Simmons was facing life in prison as well. And you know what he did? He said, I'll just not come back to the United States and I'll go live in Bali. There is an option. You don't have to stay here. If you feel this place is so bad that you got to start a war and go after white people, then move. Go somewhere else where you will live. A war against white people that you guys are calling for, you're going to lose that war. That war was over before it started. It's a fool's errand. If you really hate them that much and you want to fight them, then leave where they're at and go somewhere else and stay alive. This is not the only country on the planet. It's like 152 of them. Choose one and leave. He could have left instead of unaliving this poor kid for just because he walked up to him and told him to move and he touched him. So somebody came bump. But you got to think about it. What used to happen in the black community? You step on my Jordans, I'm going to kill you. You do this, I'm going to stab you, I'm going to shoot you. That's how they live. That's why I said Americans and the black community they're not going to merge together. There can't be. I got kicked out of a live last night because I didn't agree with if you step on somebody's Jordans, they got the right to shoot you. I was on this guy's live last night. And I told him, I was like, well, you got to hold people accountable. Once I said the word accountable, he said, oh yeah, you must not be from here. Where are you from? I was like, I'm from LA. Well, where are your parents from? I was like, California. Where are your grandparents from? And then I'm like, oh. And then I realized maybe that's it. He's like, well, I'm FBA. And where I'm from, if somebody step on your Jordans, you can. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, is that what you got to subscribe to be a part of your cult? Well, I'm not in it. Call me a tether. That's fine. I'll rather be that than dead or in jail because of something like this. But in his mind, he's at war with white people. And he was defending hurting one of them last night. Even if they do anything as far as even stepping on his shoes, touching him, to move him. There's no fist fighting when it comes to with a white person. You got to do something drastic and harm them. Because again, they think they're at war. White people don't. Once white people one day collectively wake up and agree that there is a war between the black community and also the gay white community, then things are going to change. Now, there is some kind of revelation. I'm noticing Trump and his cabinet are starting to notice that there's something going on, and they're acknowledging it. I just don't know legally what they can really do about it right now, unless some laws are going to just have to get ignored. But they've already purged a lot of these people from the military. They're purging them from government jobs. That's why they're kicking out all the DEI, because the DEI wasn't necessarily only about blacks. It was mainly about these gay people too, who hate the country and they hate white men also. So why do you think they hate Elon Musk and Trump? These are white men that have children, straight white men. They don't like that. They don't like them. So you're noticing that they're purging these people because they understand there is a threat. However, once you get them out of government institutions, what about the threat that is in the public? What do we do? Something has to be done. You know, it's a good thing I'm not in charge, because some proverbial eggs will have to be cracked to make this beautiful American omelet. Right now, we have a problem where I don't know how much longer. I asked the black community, I'm like, how much longer do you think these people are going to let you run wild and harm people and steal from people and lie and claim victim? People, everybody's watching. Everybody has the same access to the same internet. We all got Twitter. We see what you're doing. We see when you guys are throwing stuff at restaurants and killing, harming each other and going wild. And we see it. Now you're going to say, well, that's not all of us. It doesn't matter. It's your group. You're a part of it. You defend it because you don't come out and contradict it and say, well, this isn't right. You're not speaking out against it. So you're a part of it. Your silence is your compliance. These people are dying to be the victim. They're dying to be oppressed. They're fighting to be oppressed. And they're fighting to go to prison. They want to, but see, he's going, but this was their target. 17, big, strong. and they're basically paying his family $300K for doing their dirty work for them. I don't know. This is all bad. Look, like and subscribe, share the video. You know, people are going to want to argue with me in the comments. Go for it. If you have a counter argument that you can explain clearly, go for it. We can sit up here in these comments. We can, if you want to get on live, I'll drop a link. If you want to come up here and talk to me and counter me and say what I'm saying is wrong, or I'm lying, or I'm exaggerating, send me your, I'll drop the link. You can join up here and talk to me. I'll have a conversation with anybody. But there is a pattern, and I'm able to clearly articulate it and point it out to you and give you an example. If you follow Safe and Effective Podcast, follow Club Rico Podcast, follow any of my platforms on any other channels, on X as well. Follow me on there. You'll see I share the evidence and I share the pattern every single day, and I reinforce everything I'm saying. I'm not wrong. I'm not just making it up. This is not a one-off. But people need to understand this is the target, and they're trying to figure out another way. They're going to keep doing things like this, and they've been doing it. But they just don't, when it doesn't fit the narrative, they kind of sweep it under the rug, because this black army is being built up by using the media. This is their weapon. So they don't want you to call out their weapon, or because you could dismantle their weapon if you see it. Well, now, because I'm going to point it out to you, you can't help but see it. Share the video, like, subscribe. Sad to see that this young man is gone, and this young man was going to be there anyway. If it wasn't this kid, he was going to do it to another kid anyway. Likely a kid that looks like him, and nobody would have gave a damn, and it wouldn't have been no $300,000 bounty. That's how you got to look at this. This was a bounty.
Explain to me, sir, how you know their intent for going to the tent if it's their school tent. Everybody else's intent was it was raining. So why is their intent different? Okay, let's continue.
They went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting on his phone, just trying to get dry. You feel me? What?
So they intentionally went to the tent, not to get in the rain, like everybody else. Everybody in the stadium was trying to get out of the rain, except these two twins. They didn't care about the rain. They wanted Karmelo. That's what he said. So Karmelo is sitting there on his phone, minding his own business, and these guys, they don't care about the rain. They coming to get him.
By the way, everything on this broadcast today was satirical, was comedy. Nothing was real. All this is fake. All of these are CGI and made up situations. The vaccine is completely safe and effective. I take 2 or 3 a day. I suggest you do also. You should reach out to the CDC and World Health Organization for more information. But do not consult with a doctor. Just follow the television, follow Fauci, and take as many as you can to save the world.
Thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to punch on dude. Dude went in his bag, and they went to try to jump this dude and punch on this dude, man.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, sir. You said they tried to punch on him. They tried to jump him. My question is, sir, did they punch him and did they jump him? That's yes or no. Because how do you determine what a try is? What is a try to punch? What is a try to jump? Sir, what is a try to jump? What is a try to punch? Did they punch him or did they jump him? Yes or no? Okay.
You know what? Getting mad at this man and his community for lying, when lying is a part of the culture. Being a victim, manipulation, lying, stealing, as long as it's, especially if it's done towards white people, it's all allowed under the culture. That's what the culture is all about. So getting mad at him at doing what his culture is basically focused around makes just as much sense as getting mad at a dog for barking or a bird for flying. This is the nature of that culture.
So you don't know. This, because he's saying they tried to. How does someone try to punch Did they swing and miss? How does someone try to punch you? Do they swing and miss? Did they try to grab you and miss? If they tried to punch you, that means they swung at you and they missed. If they tried to jump you, that means they tried to grab you or punch you and they missed. So if they missed him with the punch and missed him with the jump, then why snap? Let's continue.
And he protected himself, dude. That's what happened. Yeah. It wasn't just one, it was both of them, bro. Austin, the dude this got his brother physically went over there to intentionally. He had him.
They physically went over there to intentionally. Did they do it or not? Trying to jump, trying to punch, intentionally. Did they touch the boy? Yes or no? Why can't this witness, this eyewitness, give us a definite answer?
It's not to the point that he brought a knife. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was community track meet, bro.
I guarantee that community track meet, there's no weapons. I guarantee that community track is going to be no weapons. The same rules apply. No drugs, no weapons. Same rules in the school.
Wasn't a school track meet.
So the reason why this guy can't give a definite answer is because he's lying. The reason why he can't just say they punched him, they grabbed him, they jumped him, because he's lying. He said they tried to punch him. They tried to jump him. What does that even mean? He's lying. This is why I tell you all that black people lie. Because black people's goal is to be right. It's not justice. It's not the facts. It ain't true. Black folks want to be in the right when they're wrong.
Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra wet.
So he said it was raining. So track meet canceled. It's raining. Folks are going to their cars. Folks are going, he said, to get anywhere where they can be dry. Pay attention. He said that it's raining hard and that everybody's scattering, trying to either go to their cars or somewhere they can get dry.
Dude was sitting up under the tent, right? On his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up, McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there.
So he just said that people were trying to get out of the rain. So why wouldn't the Metcalf twins be going to their tent, their high school team's tent, to get out of the rain? He just said that people were trying to get out of the rain. So how is he saying that their intent is different? So let me get this straight. You're saying that everybody else was trying to get out of the rain, including Karmelo Anthony. But out of everybody at the track meet, these two twins were trying to get him.
Like I said, I've been in these situations plenty of times. Everybody else was scared. The two twins were the only ones brave enough to say something to the black kid. 95% of the time, no matter what you catch black people doing, if you're white, they're not going to say nothing. Because anything you say will be turned against you being racist, you're this and you're that, and they're the victim. So most white people just won't say nothing. These are kids. They don't know no better. They see these kids in the wrong place. probably up to no good. They're defending themselves and their friends. They ask them to leave. You don't want to leave. Why don't you want to leave? Again, if you're on the NBA court and the referee say, yo, what the hell are you doing? You don't play for the team. Get the fuck off the court. Oh, I can go. Who are you to tell me where I can't be? That's your argument. He had no business there because he was over there up to no good. It's a shame, but you know what? We're stronger today than we were a week ago, and we know more now. And this is not going to just be forgotten. People are preparing for this, and now people are going to watch this community closer, and parents are going to be smarter. If you know this is going to be a mixed place where there's going to be black culture there with your American kids, don't let your American kids go. If there's going to be black culture at any events, do not let your American kids go unless you want to be burying them. So anyway, I'll be back on. I have another show coming up in 30 minutes, relationship topics. But thank you. Just follow He Is Blanchard. Brilliant takes on all these different topics. Thank you.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.